Okay, Bama fans, at this time tomorrow, everything we have been through will make sense. In case you didn't hear that, let me reiterate for you one time. At this time tomorrow, everything we went through in this wild, crazy, concerning, unconventional, weirdest offseason in the history of off seasons, this time tomorrow, everything will make sense. Why Alabama football will be on television. Crimson Tide taking on the Missouri Tigers on Saturday, 6 p.m. Central Time. ESPN will have the kickoff. I got the DVR set to go. I got my favorite food places on speed dial. But because tomorrow is so conveniently a day away, we got you locked in and loaded right here, getting you all the Tide action you can handle, you can stand on the hottest show on the streets, the number one ticket for Crimson Tide football news in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Very excited right now to have each of you tuning in to the network channel and the brand on this evening as we're giving this to you in prime time. Got a lot to talk about, not to dive into, a lot to discuss on the show. As always, bringing you the show from Tuscaloosa, streaming this to you via YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, give a thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on right now so that way you can have the best news, notes, alerts, and updates on your Crimson Tide. Not only are we streaming this to you from YouTube, but we're hitting you on Facebook, to all my Facebook people out there, streaming to you as well, and to all my Twitter people out there coming at you too. So the YouTube, the Facebook, the Twitter, we got you covered here for your Alabama football conversation. It is always a joy to have the man, the myth, the legend, the maestro in the production room, John Ivory, doing his thing as he does each and every time. We're gonna have a great, we got a great show prepared for you guys. Later on, we're going to be able to sit down with a beat writer for the Missouri Tigers by the name of Mitchell Forde, covers the Tigers for PowerMizzou.com or MizzouPower.com, part of the Yahoo and Rivals network. So it's going to be fun to sit down with Mitchell Forde to talk about those Missouri Tigers and the things that they're going to bring to the table this weekend in terms of competing against the Crimson Tide. But we want you to be a part of the show tonight. We want your phone calls. We want your energy. We want your enthusiasm. We want your passion. We want your ideas. We are one day from Alabama football, and you can do this by calling 205-448-1358. Then I'm going to call in and let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. Definitely want to hear from you. Before we even jump in to the first topic of conversation, we got two super chats to shout out here right now. We got Mr. Jimmy Clay, my man Jimmy Clay, dropping in that $5 via the super chats. He's become the newest member of the Blue Wrench gang. So Jimmy Clay throwing in that $5. And then Kevin Compton rolling in. Kevin Compton rolls in with that $9.99 via the super chats. Another member of the Blue Wrench gang, Kevin Compton there. And then Roll Tide Rise Up, dropping that $10 in via the super chats. We appreciate the love there from Jimmy Clay, Kevin Compton, and Roll Tide Rise Up. But as we jump into now, the first topic of conversation here. So I'm going to put on my huge analyst hat right now because Alabama, Missouri, tomorrow inside, Faurot Field at Memorial Stadium for the Tigers, 6 p.m. Central Time kickoff. There are going to be a lot of players in this matchup for the Crimson Tide that's going to want to make huge plays, create huge moments in this matchup as Alabama starting this season on a mission here as its goal, win the SEC, of course, get to the college football playoff, win the national championship. So I'm about to get into right now my top 5 impactful players for the Tide against the Tigers. So top 5 players, including one honorable mention guy at the end. And we're going to do this in the order of 5 to 1. So here we go here. Number 5 most impactful player, according to yours truly, for Alabama in this matchup against Missouri, defensive lineman DJ Dale at number 5. And I talked about Dale on Wednesday's show as a sophomore from the Birmingham area. A lot of defensive linemen that come to the University of Alabama from the Birmingham area, by year 2, they pop. By year 2, they become wrecking balls. By year 2, they become really, really explosive. In this game for Dale, he has got to disrupt the timing of Missouri's offense from the nose tackle position. Once again, the Tigers are going to come out with a lot of up-tempo, no-huddle, fast-paced, quick looks, a lot of the shifts and motions, eye candy type of things. Elijah Drinkwitz, the head coach, a disciple of Gus Malzahn. So for DJ Dale, got to be smart, got to be instinctive, got to play gap control, assignment football, blow stuff up. Take the center, take the guard out of the equation, free up the outside linebackers, free up the inside linebackers, free up the defensive ends to fly around the field, make plays, get to the football. Number 5 for me, impactful player, DJ Dale, gotta blow stuff up from the defensive tackle position this weekend. Moving on down to number 4, gonna go Jalen Waddle here offensively, and for more ways than one. Now, this was Desmond Howard's pick to win the Heisman Trophy. Desmond Howard, former wide receiver at the University of Michigan, works for ESPN right now, and the last wide receiver / return specialist to win the Heisman was Mr. Howard in 1991, but Jalen Waddle is his pick to win this year's Heisman Trophy. And for Waddle, could we see a kick return or a punt return touchdown in this matchup? And I think we can, because he is going to affect the game from so many aspects. The last 2 years, a specialty player. This time around, Steve Sarkisian wants to use him as an every down guy, but Missouri still has to be aware of him on special teams. They got to be aware of him on kick return, on punt return, his speed, his explosiveness, his ability to create big-time plays on special teams. And at wide receiver, he's going to take a lot of eyes, and by eyes, I'm referring to defensive backs, away from Devontae Smith. He's also going to take some eyes away from John Mechie, and John Mechie's going to try to find a way to get his thing going on in this matchup as well. So number 4, impactful player in more ways than one, Jalen Waddle. Number 3, Mac Jones. Mac Jizzle, Mac 10, Mac Jones, his moment right now. This is the first test. This is the first game in a potential big-time season here for Mac Jones. Now, I still think Steve Sarkisian creates balance in this matchup. He's going to want to run the football, rotate his backs, have the offensive line flex its muscle some on the Tigers, but expect 20 to 25 pass attempts from Jones, at least 20 to 25. Alabama will take some deep shots with him. They'll test the Missouri secondary. They'll go with some play action type things, but expect between 20 to 25 passes at the very least here that Alabama will have in order for Mac Jones. But this is the first game, the big test in a season where he's going to look to have a marquee year. He's a team guy, so the big goals for him, getting Alabama to a national championship and winning it, but look forward to seeing what Jones does numbers-wise here against those Tigers. Moving on down to number 2, impact player, according to yours truly, Najee Harris. Come on down, Najee. The Heisman campaign starts this weekend for the California man. Heisman campaign starts this weekend. We saw last year, especially down the stretch of the season, starting off with LSU. When Najee locked in, we all saw this young man can be the most complete back in college football, and we saw it down the stretch. Had 6 100-yard games a season ago, 4 against SEC opponents, 1,224 yards rushing, 13 touchdowns. Coach Saban told him in the offseason, if you come back, young man, we're going to get you every opportunity to be successful. Najee Harris decided to come back. Part one of that Heisman campaign for him starts this weekend against the Missouri Tigers. Looking forward to seeing how many times Alabama will feature him, get him the ball, and let him go to work, which brings us to the number one guy, the number one impactful player for Alabama against Missouri, according to yours truly. It is the captain, Dylan Moses, on defense. After a year of not playing football, he is back, he is set, he is ready to go and strike fear into the heart of the opponent. I remember Coach Saban mentioned Thursday on his Hey Coach show, Dylan Moses, the last 2 weeks, he has turned it loose. He has cut it loose. He looks like his old self. Those are huge words for Alabama, but that is a worrisome phrase for the rest of college football. This young brother has turned it loose. This young brother playing like his old self. He is out there on the field, cutting on that knee, bending on that knee, moving on that knee, flying across the field, putting guys in situations to be successful. Dylan Moses is ready to show, I am a top 5 pick. For real, for real. Don't play me. I'm not for play. That's what the man Dylan Moses is getting ready to do right now, starting off here with the Missouri Tigers. So those will be the 5 guys, the impact players on my end, starting off with DJ Dale, and then Jalen Waddle, Mac Jones, Najee Harris at number 2, Dylan Moses at number 1. But had to have an honorable mention here. The honorable mention player, according to yours truly, Will Anderson, the true freshman linebacker, getting the start at Jack linebacker. I'm looking forward to seeing from him how many sacks can he get in this game. Because I remember talking with a source of mine, a couple of close sources of mine to the team a couple of days ago. Will Anderson's goal, 5 sacks a game. That's his goal. 5 sacks a game. If he can hit 3 sacks a game, Tide Nation will be proud of him. But he's looking at 5 sacks per game. How many sacks, how many times will he be able to disrupt the quarterback play and create negative plays in the backfield against Missouri's offense? Looking forward to seeing Will Anderson. He is my honorable mention for the Crimson Tide in this matchup. But we take our first break here on the show on a Friday. Don't touch that dial. We are just getting you warmed up here. Upon our return, we go to your phone calls, your tweets, your chats, your conversations. We're talking Bama, 1 day away from Tide football. Let's get the dialogue going after this.
Every sports fan deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care in support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
We are back in the action here, folks, on Friday. Hottest show on the streets, number 1 forum for Crimson Tide football news, in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. 1 day away from Tide football. Tomorrow, Bama takes on Missouri in Columbia, Missouri, 6 p.m. Central Time. Kickoff game will be on ESPN. I am amped up for the matchup. But before we go to the phone lines to handle your calls, your energy, your chats, your ideas, your questions on Tide football, we got a couple of super chats, or a few super chats to shout out here. How about Jimmy Clay doing his thing, y'all? Jimmy Clay dropping in that $50 via super chats, helping us out here on TDA. Appreciate that, Jimmy. Also, Willie351 coming in with that smooth 777 on the super chats. Appreciate the love there from Willie351. And Jay Lee's back. Jay Lee has made his way on back to the thing, to the big show. Jay Lee dropping in that $20 via the super chats, helping us out here at TDA. So big love there to Jimmy Clay, Willie351, and our own Jay Lee here. Now, listeners, fans, remember, so the donator list for the all-time list and the top 5 list for the month, both of those lists will be updated on Monday. So the top 5 donator list and the all-time donation list for everybody that's donated money via the Super Chats, both of those lists will be updated on Monday. But we're going to the phone, but it's your time, Tide Nation, 205-448-1358. But I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. And we pick up a call right now to start this Friday. You are live on In My Own Words, one day away from Tide football. What's going on?
Steven, how's it going down there at TDA tonight? It's TGIF on Friday, one day away from game day. Buddy, I tell you, popping tonight. The money's rolling in. Good grief, I got a hold on here. I'm sweating. Tell me all about it. Ooh.
Doing good here, Waitr. Cannot complain here. You're absolutely right. One day away from Alabama football, taking on Missouri after the craziest unconventional offseason of all time, and the stress and the paranoia and the pandemonium. Tomorrow, everything will make sense because sitting in front of a TV, watching Coach Saban and this year's edition of Alabama football take the field, going to be a very good, awesome feeling tomorrow to watch the Tide do its thing against the Tigers. I'm happy right now. I am in my happy place now.
I can tell everybody else is too here. All I always say, though, everybody in the love, we got the jacket mailed off today. Stephen will be getting it, and he'll be deciding on what to do with that. So we got that in the works. And game day always remind me of years ago. I went back. A lot of people are not going to remember this guy, but Stephen might remember Leonard's Loser. Stephen, you remember Leonard's Loser show?
Oh, legend, yes.
Oh, Lord. Leonard's Loser and Percy Peabody. I tell you, every Saturday morning, before all the games started, before there was a game day, anything, it was Leonard's Loser. He was on 1,400 radio channels on Saturday morning, Leonard did. He retired in 99, passed away in 2007. I remember going to the Houston game. I heard him the last year he done it, 1999, Alabama-Houston at Legion Field. That's when we beat Florida twice that year. It was a tough game in the swamp, but we took them apart in the SEC championship game. Spurrier didn't even throw his hat off his head that day. I tell you what, Sean Alexander was the smoothest man I ever saw run the football at Alabama. He was like butter on a hot piece of cornbread. Woo! I tell you what. Y'all done got me excited tonight. I tell you, I'm sweating here. But we're going to get out of here. Hope everybody has a great weekend, has a good game day tomorrow. We'll go back in the past here and give Leonard a good one here. He always made us laugh, and his final words he always said was, "Get me out of here, Percy." So I might add a little something to that at the end. All right, everybody in the chat, I love you. I appreciate all the love. It's TGIF on TDA, one day away from game day. We're going to go back in time now. Here we go. The mighty Crimson Tide will roll into Columbia, Missouri to face Eli's not-so-friendly kitty cats. But the stomp of the pachyderm will take the mighty scratch of the Tigers away. Leonard's Loser in a runaway. Missouri. It was toward the end of the Hump Day show. Big Money Jimmy dropped 50 in the hat. Whew, rat-a-tat-tat, I got to get John to help me. He done dropped 50 more in the hat. Oh, Lord, have mercy. Always remember to drop the love in the TDA hat. One day I'll sneak out, pop you on the hat, because myself and Sway from the Bay don't play. All right, here we go. This is the end of it. I'll see everybody on Monday. Get me out of here, Stephen. Bye-bye, everybody.
Appreciate the love there coming from Waitr, and always just a joyous call there from Waitr starting us off here on a Friday. Continue with more calls. You are live on In My Own Words on a Friday. What's going on? You're on In My Own Words. What's up?
What's going on, Stephen? This is young Sway from down the bay.
Sway, what's going on, dude?
Hey man, y'all changing the time tonight?
We decided to go prime time, man. Just do something special. We did this for you, Sway. We want something special for you, so we went prime time for you, man.
No, y'all ain't do this for me. So my homeboy he had called me. That's how I know the show be on. He called me and said, "Hey, your show on?" I clicked on. It's 6 o'clock. And I seen some other dude on there. I was like, who this is? I ain't know who this was. I was like, this ain't Steven. He look a little bit different, but I said, let me just tune in for a little bit. I told you I be having to work, but I didn't want to call in and get shot up. Hey, how we gonna do tomorrow, Steven?
We gonna Alabama will cover the 27 points. Alabama will cover the spread.
I don't know. I don't really know what all that means, Steve. I mean, I just want.
Okay, so Alabama. I'll put it like this, then. Alabama gonna dominate. How about that?
Oh, I mean, I already know all that. I mean, I just, you gotta be more specific. You know what I'm saying? Like how the running game gonna look. You know what I'm saying? How Matt gonna look. I mean, that's what I'm trying to. You know what I mean? Okay, running game. Najee Harris is going to get over 100 yards, between 100 and 125 for Najee. Between 100 and 125 for Najee. Mac, I mentioned in the first segment, they'll give Mac 20 to 25 passes. I can see him going 19 for 25, 20 for 25, 275 right there, 3 touchdowns. I can see Mac doing that. Defensively against Missouri, it's going to be some sacks. It's going to be a lot of sacks. I don't know how many, but it's going to be a lot of sacks. I'm predicting an interception from Malachi Moore. I'm predicting an interception from Malachi Moore in the secondary in this game. Oh, well, I don't really know like all the players like that. I mean, I did ask you to be specific, so I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm gonna be tuning in. You know what I'm saying? I told him I can't work when Ty plays, so you know what I'm saying. But I didn't want to call in because I was confused for a little bit. I seen that you was on the 9. And I said I called in. I tried to check at 6, and I was like, man, what's going on? But I'm gonna holler to those Steven maybe next week or the week after that. But y'all be cool over there.
I got you, Sway. We got you. Be good, man. That's old Sway, man. We did that for Sway. We had to go on prime time for Sway one time. But we got some more super chats here to shout out here on the show. Jimmy Clay again with $100 in here. Jimmy Clay is serious, y'all. Jimmy Clay dropping that 100 in here. And then Dallas Schwartz with a $20 into the super chats as well. So appreciating the love from Dallas Schwartz. Appreciating the love, the big love from Jimmy Clay. Appreciate the love from everybody tuning into the show on tonight as we are one day away from Alabama football taking on Missouri on tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time via ESPN. But so cool topic here before we take a break on the show. So the Alabama football Twitter account released this video getting us ready for the game here. And in this video, it features Dylan Moses. So check this out. Check out this Alabama video featuring Dylan Moses getting himself ready, getting his mind right for the matchup. Look at this video.
People are just now making plans to see what happens. This pandemic, hit us.
There are so many mixed signals. The SEC expected to announce very soon officially that they will be having a 10-game conference-only season. No season.
This is the single most important moment. This is nuts. Everything about 2020.
There's no guarantee that the virus is going to be
Let's listen to this kid so they can go out there and play. Let's listen to the kid so they can go out there and play.
Dylan Moses is too ready. Dylan Moses is too ready. I'm ready for this. Alabama taking on Missouri tomorrow. Got myself prepared here for this matchup. We're going to take a break right now. But upon our return, we sit down with Mitchell Forde, who covers the Missouri Tigers for MissouriPower.com, part of the Yahoo and Rivals Network. You'll hear Mitchell Forde right after this.
If you want delicious home-style cooking, sushi, and hibachi. Check out Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. At home and you can't get away from the TV because the Crimson Tide is about to score? Don't worry, delivery is also available through Waitr and Crimson2go. That's Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And make sure you let them know the good folks at Touchdown Alabama sent you.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at emily'sheirloompoundcakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
All right, Tide Nation, we are back in from the break here on the number one ticket for Alabama football news, notes, commentary, entertainment, in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Appreciating everybody for tuning into the show on today. As always, be sure to give a like on the show, a thumbs up on the show, hit that subscribe button, and turn all of those notifications on so that way you have the best in news, notes, analysis, and updates on your Crimson Tide. But right now, we're going to mosey on over to the In My Own Words hotline, where we pick up Mitchell Forde, who covers the Missouri Tigers for PowerMissouri.com, part of the Yahoo and Rivals Network. Mitchell, so happy that you can graciously join us live, man. How you feeling?
For having me.
Mitchell, you're live on the show. How you feeling?
Steven, I'm doing good. Can you hear me?
I can hear you fine now. We got Mitchell Forde here live on the show, covering the Missouri Tigers for PowerMissouri.com, part of the Yahoo and Rivals Network. And this weekend, Mitchell, it's Alabama versus Missouri in Columbia, 6 p.m. Central Time, ESPN airing the matchup there. So my first thought to you, the Tigers bring in Elijah Drinkwitz as head coach, a young guy, 37 years of age. He's kind of off that Gus Malzahn coaching tree in the sense of he loves to run different schemes, different looks, different formations, shows some eye candy there, a little up-tempo offense. How has the Missouri – what's been the vibe around Missouri this week with what he is going to look to bring in this matchup against Alabama, Coach Drinkwitz?
Yeah, so I got to say, I don't know a ton right now. It's kind of weird to be this close to the football season and know as little as we do because, we didn't get to see any of fall camp. We only saw 3 spring practices. They never even put on full pads. And so I haven't really gotten a chance to see this system in action. I think, the things you can expect, they're going to lean on the running game, I would think, because the running backs are definitely kind of the strength of this offense. And the offensive line has been suspect, and they're bringing in they're going to have a new starting quarterback. Don't know exactly who that's going to be. So I would expect it to be fairly run heavy. Eli Drinkwitz has said he wants to use tempo at times, maybe to speed up after a first down or to potentially control the clock if they need to. So, but really, man, you all are going to be kind of learning right along with us about what he brings to this offense.
Now, when you look at, of course, you mentioned the running back, Larry Roundtree, 2018, a 1,000-yard back last season, had a really good year. And what makes him stand out? What makes him a special player, in this offense? Alabama had some issues last season with Rico Dowdle of South Carolina, Clyde Edwards-Helaire of LSU. But what does Larry Roundtree bring that sets him apart in this offense that makes him difficult to tackle?
Yeah, Roundtree, he's just a real physical downhill runner, and he's the type of runner that usually gets better the more touches he gets. In that 2018 season that you mentioned, he had his best 3 weeks, the last 3 weeks of the season, and all of those games he got, between 20 and 30 carries. So he's just a physical guy who kind of grinds you down. And then also they have a solid compliment to him and Tyler Beatty, who's a little bit more of a scat back, get him out in space. He's a really good receiver. He led Missouri in catches last season. A little bit smaller, a little bit speedier. So those are kind of the two guys you can look for out of the backfield.
If you're just tuning into the show, ladies and gentlemen, we are joined by Mitchell Forde, who covers the Missouri Tigers for PowerMissouri.com, which is part of the Yahoo and Rivals Network, live on the phone line right now. So, Mitchell, just throwing this to the defense here for just a minute. Missouri has a lot of veterans returning on this defensive front when you discuss Kobe Whiteside and then also Nick Bolton at linebacker. They got some big playmakers in the secondary also, but that defensive front seven is really Missouri's strong suit. What will they look to do stunt-wise, blitz-wise, pressure-wise to try to affect Mac Jones, to try to limit the production of Najee Harris? What will Missouri's defensive front be looking at trying to do?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you see some blitzing from the linebackers particularly. Last season, Missouri didn't get a ton out of its defensive ends in the pass rush, and they had Jordan Elliott, who's now plays for the Cleveland Browns, a defensive tackle, and while he didn't have a ton of sacks, he really kind of freed things up for Kobe Whiteside. I always think Kobe Whiteside's a good player. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little bit of an adjustment curve from no longer playing next to Jordan Elliott. So I would not be surprised if they try to help out that front four. With sending some linebackers. Maybe Nick Bolton, you mentioned. I think he had like 5 sacks last season. He's fairly accomplished blitzer. So yeah, I think they're not gonna want Mac Jones to stand back there all night and have time for Devontae Smith and Jalen Waddle just to get open.
Now, of course, looking at now the receivers here for this team, Missouri, as you mentioned, trying to locate the quarterback between Connor Bazelak or Sean Robinson, one of those two. But they've got some guys at wide receiver. When you discuss Jalen Knox, Kiki Chisholm, and then the third guy, Damon Hazelton. All three guys got some height on them, especially Kiki Chisholm at 6'4". But just in terms of all three receivers, what do all three do the best? What do each one of these guys bring to the table in terms of getting open, finding the hole in the zone and trying to take the top off at Alabama secondary that looks to be much improved this year?
Yeah, so obviously, the Missouri staff, new staff, when they came in, they saw a need at receiver, went out and got 2 different grad transfer receivers. So you mentioned Kiki Chisholm and Damon Hazelton. Chisholm's the guy whose name we've heard the most during camp. The staff loves him. He's a transfer from a Division II school, Angelo State, but they really seem to think that he can not only contribute on this level but has NFL ability as well. He's a really big body, like you mentioned, 6'5". Can make contested catches, and I think is going to be more of a possession type receiver. Not afraid to work over the middle. You need a guy on third down to move the sticks. Jalen Knox is a guy who played on the outside exclusively his first 2 seasons and is going to now spend some time in the slot. He's a guy who in high school got the ball just about every way possible, played quarterback, running back, slot, and out wide. So last year he just was kind of mainly used as a deep threat. And while he can stretch the field vertically, I think, he's better off kind of getting the ball in space. And then Hazelton's probably more of the downfield threat. Although I will say, there's been some issues with him in health. Eli Drinkwitz said he was out with a hamstring injury for a lot of camp. I'm not sure if he really practiced at all. So I will be curious. He's supposed to start on Saturday, but I will be curious to see, if he does, how much he plays and how rusty he is. But Missouri could definitely use him as a guy who could kind of take the top off the defense.
If you're just tuning into the show, ladies and gentlemen, on a Friday, we're joined here by Mitchell Forde, who covers the Missouri Tigers for PowerMissouri.com, part of the Yahoo and Rivals Network here on the phone lines. Now, Mitchell, I know, Missouri in this situation of trying to figure out who will start at the quarterback position, but to your best knowledge here, do you kind of have a vibe or a gauge in which one could start or which one would give the Tigers the best chance at competing against Alabama?
He's the TCU transfer, former Army All-American who struggled a little bit with ball security, with interceptions there at TCU. I think that we heard really good things about him last season when he sat out, and I think just with the experience edge and with his mobility, that maybe gives him the edge. I would not be surprised if Connor Bazelak plays. I actually expect him to get at least a series or two. But Sean Robinson, I mentioned earlier, the offensive line is definitely expected to be the weakness of this team. So having his running ability, his mobility should help out a little bit. Just, if you do have to scramble or being able to use the quarterback in the running game to get an extra blocker, I think those are two attributes that will definitely help out given Missouri's offensive line situation.
He's Mitchell Forde, ladies and gentlemen. Join us graciously here on In My Own Words on a Friday. Forde, a beat writer for the Missouri Tigers, covering the program for PowerMissouri.com, part of the Yahoo and Rivals Network. Mitchell, appreciate you so much for taking time to come on the show, give the lowdown, give the expertise of what's going on with the Tigers as they prepare to face Alabama on Saturday. You be safe, man. Be good. Enjoy the game.
Absolutely excited to cover a real football game. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. It's awesome getting a chance to talk to Mitchell Forde here as he broke down the Missouri Tigers and what could we expect from the Tigers coming into this matchup here. Before we take our next break, we got a couple of more super chats here to shout out. So how about Spencer Revley once again? Spencer Revley dropping that smooth $5 via the super chats, helping us out here at TDA. Another $10 coming from Roll Tide Rise Up. Roll Tide Rise Up, donating that $10. And Kevin Compton again, dropping in that fresh $9.99. So appreciating Spencer Revley, Roll Tide Rise Up, and Kevin Compton. But we take another break here on the show. Upon our return, we get back to you guys, your phone calls, your tweets, your chats, your conversations. We're one day away from Bama football. Let's start the dialogue after this.
T-Town Menswear in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We are back in here, folks, to the action on the hottest show on the streets, number one forum for Crimson Tide football news. In my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Happy to have everybody locked and loaded onto the channel, show, and brand on today as Bama football kicks off tomorrow, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time, between Tide and those Missouri Tigers. ESPN will have the call. Before we go back to the phone lines, got to remind you of this. So the monthly donors you see on screen, the list of top 5 monthly donors and the list of top 5 all-time donors, that list was from Wednesday. It'll be updated again on Monday. So the list you're seeing right now is from Wednesday. It'll be updated again on Monday. So new list of monthly donors and all-time donors will be up on Monday. Another super chat to shout out here. Willie351 back in his bag again. Willie351 dropping in that cool 777 via the super chats there. Appreciate that love they're coming from Willie351. But it's on you, Tide Nation. 205-448-1358. The number to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. We take a call right now. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on? Live on In My Own Words, caller.
Steven, what's going on? It's Justin Riley.
Justin, what's happening, man?
Man, we are 1 day away, not even 1 day away. We're less than 24 hours away from seeing the greatest team in the nation take the field. Is it really here?
It's really here, man. And it's crazy, as unorthodox, as weird as this offseason was. on Saturday at 6 p.m., it'll all make sense because you'll be watching Coach Saban, this year's version of the Crimson Tide, take the field, and a team that is on a serious mission to win the national championship. So I'm excited. I literally have pins and needles in my feet right now.
Man, I tell you what, and that Dylan Moses intro video definitely helped the excitement grow even more. Man, that was incredible.
It's crazy, and it kind of plays into the psyche of there was so much negative from the month of March to about maybe June. There was so much negative. People were wondering, would football happen? Will we have football? You saw the Big Ten and the Pac-12 initially cancel their seasons. Of course, both conferences have retracted their statements and their thoughts since then. But there was so much negative between the months of March and June to now. You're going to have football. The job that Commissioner Greg Sankey has done in the SEC to not pull the trigger, to not jump the gun, but to just push the season back, let everybody else make their play first, and then we do what we do as the SEC. You got to give Commissioner Sankey a lot of credit for that.
No, absolutely. It's just amazing that he didn't flinch. He was unwavered the entire time, and I felt like he was the strong point out of any of the commissioners of the other conferences that we heard from. He was strong, and he didn't panic, and he just he did what needed to be done. And here we are. We're ready to see it. But quick question, everybody is focusing on Najee Harris. Of course, that's with good reason. A little focused on Brian Robinson, but we have Trey Sanders back, a healthy Trey Sanders. What do you think we're going to see for him in this running back rotation tomorrow?
Versatility. He will get carries. He will get quite the number of carries. But I think more so for him, Sarkisian's going to be throwing him the ball at the backfield. Because Sark mentioned in fall camp, this young man just highly explosive. You can't look away from him. You can't take your eyes off of him. I look at Trey Sanders as the explosive wild card. He will run the football between the tackles, bounce plays outside. He will get carries. But I'm going to say this. Watch him more so out the backfield. He's got some soft hands, and softer than what he gets credit for. He's got some hands out that backfield as a receiver. I would watch him even more so catching passes tomorrow.
Oh, I can't wait. Another thing I really hope we do is we use Christian Barmore. It's time to let the beast loose. Are we finally going to see it?
Absolutely. He did a bit more in practice again this week. He may not start the game, but I definitely see him playing the game, getting some work in there. He is really passionate. A knee injury, no matter how minor that it is, it's not going to hold him out of this matchup. But, Justin, we appreciate the call, man. You keep listening to us.
Absolutely, man. Great show.
Absolutely. Appreciate the call. They're coming from Justin. We take another call here on the call line, and it's my man Spencer Reveley. Spencer, what's going on, man? You're live on the show.
It is football time in T-Town. Stephen M. Smith, how's it going tonight, sir?
Doing fantastic. And Spencer, let me just say this for all the listeners out there. Spencer was one of the guys the whole time, definitely the only guy the whole time that throughout the entire offseason kept saying, I don't care what's going on, we're going to have football. So, Mr. Prophet Spencer, you got it, man. You got it.
That is so true, sir, because I have faith in God, and I prayed to him, and he told me that we will have Alabama football, and that's what's going to happen, sir, tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night, Crimson Tide taking on Mizzou. So, of all the different matchups that will be on the field tomorrow night, Spencer, what's the one matchup that you will have your eye on intensely?
It would have to be the Tennessee game, sir, to be perfectly honest with you.
Okay. So
I got to see if that offensive...
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I got to see if that Tennessee offensive line is for real or not, because everything that I've been seeing on them, I don't think they're as bad as people saying they are.
Well, you look at Jeremy Pruitt. He did get that 2-year extension for the Vols, so we shall see what with Tennessee looks like here to start this season. But who are you looking at to be the player of the game offensively and defensively, Spencer, for Alabama tomorrow?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, I think Mac 10 is going to be the offensive player. And then I'm going to have to go. I got to stay on my Davis train. I got to say Ben Davis going to show out.
Okay. BD will take the field. Ben Davis will take the field tomorrow. Looking forward to seeing what he does in this matchup because I, for one, have been talking about how this is Ben Davis's time to finally put that good ending, to a career that started off, kind of in a rough patch, but he's got a chance right now to put a good, solid ending on his career. But Spencer, we appreciate the call. We appreciate the love and the support from you as always. You keep listening to us, buddy.
Roll Tide and Roll Tide Chat family. It's football time again.
Absolutely. Appreciate the love they're coming from our own Spencer Reveley, who did say that despite whatever happens this offseason, Alabama football would still happen in the fall, and he got his wish here. Crimson Tide playing tomorrow night. Another super chat to shout out here. How about Gucci Tide? Gucci Tide ringing around the thing here with a little $20 into the super chats. Appreciate that love that's being shown there from Gucci Tide. But another cool topic here before we go to break. So how about the SEC media? Now, normally the SEC media doesn't always vibe with Alabama football. Sometimes it likes to stir the pot against Alabama football. But the SEC media this time around chose the Crimson Tide to win the SEC West, to win the conference title this season. And Alabama had a league-high 13 players named to the preseason All-SEC team. Of those 13 players, 8 were named to the first team, those 8 being Najee Harris, Devontae Smith, Jalen Waddle, Alex Leatherwood, Landon Dickerson, LeBron Ray, Dylan Moses, and Patrick Surtain II. So basically, in the words of my favorite Key and Peele sketch, the usual suspects. So the usual suspects were named to the first team preseason All-SEC edition here, according to the media. But we take another break here on the show. Upon our return, folks, we got a couple of updates here on Christian Barmore and which punter will travel to Alabama to take on Mizzou. We'll talk Barmore and specialist after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to STSFootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to STSFootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, folks, we're back in. We are back in live here from the break on the hottest show on the streets, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news, notes, and information. Appreciating everybody for tuning into the show on this evening. Crimson Tide taking on Missouri on tomorrow night, 6 o'clock p.m. Central Time. ESPN will have the call on the game. And before we talk about TDAwear.com and get to the final topic, got one locker drop for you right now. One locker drop. So, locker drop. The first interception tomorrow will come from Josh Jobe. Locker drop. The first interception for Alabama tomorrow will come from Josh Jobe. Lock or drop. If you lock it up. If not, type in the super chats, type in the YouTube chat line who you think will get the first interception tomorrow for the Crimson Tide. It could be somebody in the secondary. It could be a linebacker. No matter who it is, but my lock or drop right here. First one coming from Josh Jobe, lock or drop. But also got a super chat here coming from Roll Tide Rise Up again. Roll Tide Rise Up throwing in that $5 via the super chats. Appreciate the love. They're coming from Roll Tide Rise Up. As always, Bama fans, you enjoy the Crimson Tide. You are a diehard fan. You love it. You sleep it. You breathe it. You eat it. You go to church and at school with it, whatever. You enjoy Bama football. You got to go to tdawear.com. That is tdawear.com. We got the apparel here for you. We have shirts for you. We have hoodies for you. The Let Them Play shirts. The We Want Football shirts. Go to tdawear.com. Get this apparel today. Supporting your favorite football team. Supporting the coaching staff, the University of Alabama, the student athletes, and us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. That is tdawear.com. But got a couple of updates here on Christian Barmore and which punter will travel with the Crimson Tide to take on Missouri. Starting off with Barmore here. He was back at practice this week after having a slight knee injury the week prior, which is the reason why he didn't scrimmage the week prior. But back at practice this week, he did some things this week. He did some things this week, was able to move around on his knee, bend around, move around, go through some drills, participate at various stations at Alabama practice. So, and I know Coach Saban talks about what's still uncertain right now. We still don't know right now, kind of playing up the gamesmanship ordeal. You know how Nick Saban likes to do it. He likes to play up the whole gamesmanship card. But knowing Christian Barmore, if he can move an inch, which he can, he is going to play tomorrow. He is not going to allow a slight knee issue to keep him off the field. Now, am I saying he starts tomorrow? No, Justin Eboigbe will start tomorrow at the defensive end position opposite LeBron Ray. But I do see Christian Barmore getting worked in. He'll get some reps. He'll get some snaps. He'll get his chance to get on the field, knock the quarterback around a little bit, stuff the run game, play assignment football. Coach Saban did mention he is the best pass rusher on the team in terms of the defensive line there. So for Barmore, I don't think he starts, but I 100% believe he will play, especially with the fact that if he was able to do some things this week, which Coach Saban talked about he did, I do not see in this hemisphere, period, where a slight, knee injury keeps this young man from being on the field and being a wrecking ball here for the Crimson Tide, starting off with Missouri, but that's just Christian Barmore. When you look at the punters, and I mentioned this before, Nick Saban is serious about pushing for a national championship when you got a full-fledged competition at punter. We've never seen this before. A full-fledged competition at punter. For a lot of people, after seeing what Ty Perine did last year as a walk-on coming off the bench from the Tennessee game throughout the remainder of the season, averaging 44.7 yards a punt, after seeing that, you would think Perine's job locked up, it's his, no questions asked. But you got three guys here competing for this punting spot when you discuss Ty Perine, Charlie Scott, the younger brother of J.K. Scott, former Alabama punter and All-American punter, and then Sam Johnson, the walk-on from Oak Mountain High School in the Birmingham area. So all three guys competing here for the spot. Which one travels to Mizzou to take on the Tigers? I know I was told, I'm trying to ensure the accuracy of this, but I was told earlier that the guy could be Sam Johnson. But me personally, I still think it's Ty Perine. Now, of course, as we get closer and closer into tomorrow, I will have the full-fledged information, and we'll be getting that out, to you on the punter, definitely that made the trip there with for the Crimson Tide. Now, Coach Saban did mention on his presser on Wednesday that Alabama could not take multiple specialists on the road, can't take multiple guys, can't take multiple punters. He's trying to take as many guys as it's allotted to take. And I know he talked about how he would, the coaching staff would evaluate all 3 guys from how they perform up to that point and then take the best guy that they see fit to get the job done. Now, of course, none of these 3 guys are on the level that J.K. Scott was on. Now, you're not going to see too many J.K. Scotts walking around here nowadays. I mean, that man was just a golden leg from Colorado. You're not going to see too many J.K.s. But P. Ryan, Sam Johnson, and Charlie Scott, all 3 of those guys are effective punters. They get the ball up there 40 to 45 yards. The big thing here is, of the 3, right, which one is the most effective in dropping that ball inside the 20, inside the opposing team's 10-yard line? That's the big thing. When you're not the biggest booming punter, when you're not hitting it 50 and 60 and 70 yards downfield, and you're not having that 5 to 7 second hang time like that, then your specialty in terms of a punter is how consistently can you drop the ball inside the opponent's 10, 20-yard line, absolutely squeeze, constrain the return man, and really set up your defense with the opportunity to create some havoc there, in the backfield. So you've got an interesting dynamic here at the punting position with P. Ryan, Sam Johnson, and Charlie Scott. But one of those 3 has made the trip there with Coach Saban and the team to Mizzou. I think it's Ty P. Ryan. I've been told it's Sam Johnson, but as we continue throughout the evening, I will get the full-fledged information and be sure to pass it along to you guys. But going back to Christian Barmore here, I think he plays. 100% believe he plays, because after what he was able to do throughout this week of practice, with what he's been able to do in fall camp. I mean, I know he and Pete Golden got into that shouting match in fall camp, and Barmore got hot and went home and it was kind of frustrated right there, but he came back. He put in a lot of work. He's put in a lot of effort. He knows how big this year is for him in terms of, the NFL scouts watching him, NFL coaches, possibly looking at him. He's got a chance to potentially maybe even go pro after this season, depending on the year that he has. Don't think he starts, but definitely believe that Barmore plays in this game against Mizzou. But, folks, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your Crimson Tide. Very simple, very easy to access this. You can get it from the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You can download the app from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you just so happen to have the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you covered right here on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, TuneIn Radio, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio. We have you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I will be back on Monday, continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Got a super chat to shout out here. Senator Hines ending us off correctly with that $3 there. Being the super chats, appreciate the love there from Senator Hines. And you guys believe that Josh Jobe will get the first pick of the game tomorrow for Alabama's secondary, as y'all have a lot of that on in the bag there. But as I mentioned, good and gracious Lord sees fit, we'll be back on Monday to talk Tide football. As always, Tide Nation, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Have those sent to your door. Link will be found in the description. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands. Children, it's the weekend. Still do those things legitimately now to not be bored. Be sure to get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Enjoy the game tomorrow. Until next time, folks, spit in my own words.